to the church, brothers. Yo, what's up? And you know what? I think I've been an impolite host this whole time. If you watch my videos, I think I have been impolite, so let me apologize. My name is David. Be a little more personal with you, by the way. Welcome to the Wild Signal, you guys. What's going on out there? Got some cool shit for you guys today. But yeah, I think I've been a little impersonal, so I'm gonna be a little more personal. How you doing? My name is David. All right. So check it out. And if you guys don't know who Jimmy Church is, please go to your search. Pause right now. Go to your search engines. Type in Jimmy Church. Click like and subscribe. Sit back. And if you like your coffee, dog, grab you a cup. Go listen to the shows. You'll have a good time. But yeah, today got some more shit. I've been doing some more interesting reading. And if you want to know the times we living in right now, the things they would allow us to believe and want us to believe, it is a fascinating time right now. I mean, mamas, let your boys grow up to be physicists. Oh, man, when I grew up, I wanted to be a physicist. I'm telling you right now, because they investigate some of the coolest shit. But before we get to there, the time we living in right now is just such a cool time because we're at a time of disclosure. And if we are to believe the things that are disclosed to us, then, man, there's some fascinating shit out there. This UFO shit with the Pentagon, this remote viewing, listen. If this stuff is real as they say it is, which I'm not saying that it's not, but these files, which they would want us to believe it. If they come out and tell us this, they want us to believe it. Maybe this is their way of telling us, but they're telling us remote viewing is real, this psychic phenomenon is real, and if you're willing to read, they're probably not going to stand in front of a microphone. Well, they just did this week, stood in front of a microphone and told us about the Space Force, which we already knew about that. You can go back and check my secret space program video all about that, how I linked up to Gary McKinnon and all that fly stuff, so you can check that out. But I don't know if they're going to stand there and tell you a lot of things. You may have to dig for yourself. You may have to read for yourself. But if you do, you'll find some interesting things. So the remote viewing, the psychic thing, you know, we're touching to that right there. Well, what's going on with that? With ESP, with all that stuff, you know, I love it. I think it's fly. I think it's real. Yeah, man, it's the files are there. The people are there. The interviews, Hal Puthoff, I have to say his name, you know, right? They're all there. They're saying it's here. It's real. They've been investigating, maybe not to the magnitude that some of us would like to think it is, but there is definitely something there. And the organizations that we believe in to protect us, to take care of us, that we thank people for their service for joining, they are coming back and saying some wild shit. And it's being investigated by some of our top people out there and by other people. So, yeah, so to get into it, one of the first things that come out when they started looking at ESP was this story right here of a lieutenant colonel. This lieutenant colonel, he was on a TDY, temporary duty, with with a coworker. All right. I may not be as polished as I want to right now because I just read the story and it interests me. I'm like, I'm finna hit record and go with this one right here. So he was in a hotel room with a colleague, right? And him and a colleague was going over the next day's work. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And he says, like, for instance, I'll throw out a number sequence. And he made up a 7-digit number. The 7-digit number happened to be the same exact number that his colleague was thinking of. And his colleague was like, you would not believe it. The number you said was exactly a phone number I was trying to remember to call. And he couldn't believe it. So when things came around for them to investigate or to look and see what was into, this lieutenant colonel was like, hey, I had this experience, so let's see what's up with this parapsychology, with this ESP stuff right there. So, you know, that's a cool story right there. That is something really cool that happened. That is in the NSA files. That happened. This lieutenant colonel sitting there with a colleague and saying, for instance, if I was to throw a number out and they were just going over a number sequence for the day's work that was going to happen tomorrow, nothing about psychic phenomena or nothing, and it happened to be the same 7-digit number that his colleague had in his head back when we didn't have cell phones and you had to remember people's number, and this number was in his head, and he called that number out right there. So when that happened, that lieutenant colonel always knew that he was a serious guy and that if this happened, to him that it was something right there. So when things come up to be investigated, and he was a military guy, lieutenant colonel, ESP wasn't something that he was afraid of because he had an experience. So he had an experience, and that is dope right there. That's real dope. It may be something small. It may be something small, but thank God that happened to a lieutenant colonel, so he can go and say, "Hey, look, this shit happened to me. This shit happened to me." I can't remember if it was Grant Cameron. Shout out to Grant or Linda Moulton Howe. Shout out to Linda that came out that was telling the story. I believe it was Grant because Grant related back to Jim Semivan. Was that how many ever whatever the statistics is of people in the world in America, that same statistic is in the workplace. So if there's this many statistical number of experiencers in the world, some of them are in the workplace. They've experienced things. So whatever phenomena they experienced, it's like, all right, this is what I experienced, and it's happened to me. So thank God it happened to a lieutenant colonel. So when it came time to look at parapsychology, this wasn't taboo. This wasn't taboo. So that's a little bit of insight into things that happen. And this is the NSA. This is them looking into this. You know what I mean? And that's pretty dope. And it even goes so far about other ones about the ability to move mind over matter and to influence things like that. And it's dope. They had to look into it before the Soviets did because they had, like a sentence says right here that they periodically scanned for developments in the free world or the Soviet bloc, because they knew that it would be an increased threat. This is something serious. This is something serious. They experienced mental phenomenon. They looked into it. They're telling us it's real. Some people out there probably refuse to believe it, like, nah, whatever. Listen, it's here. It's happening. They're disclosing to us. And that's just some dope ass shit right there. And then it goes on. This is the part I love right here. It goes on about poltergeist. Poltergeist. We all know, angry spirits, noisy spirit, poltergeist. We all seen the movie, Poltergeist, a ghost. Well, check this out. This is why I say let your mama let your boys grow up to be physicists. So they had two cases in Germany. It was the Rosenheim case in 1967 and the Brennenboy case in 1965. It was investigated by two physicists, Dr. F. Nanger and Dr. G. Zuba. Physicists get to do some dope ass shit. They get to investigate time travel, Einstein Rosen bridges, gravity waves. Shout out to Dr. Kit Green. Gravity waves and the LIGO's group. They have built a detector to detect gravity waves and the implications of them so they can extrapolate off of Einstein's theories. Just dope. Go check these people out. See what they have to do. So mamas, let your boys grow up to be physicists. All right? So they investigated some poltergeist activity. All right? So which is dope. Well, these physicists found out that the poltergeist activity is not actually maybe a spirit, but it's manifested actually from the person. So if you experience stress and trauma in your life, that type of stuff manifests on the body. It can even cause ulcers. If you had people have ulcers, they react to high blood pressure. They're getting upset in stressful situations. Well, that stress can manifest itself in different ways. And sometimes it can manifest itself in the form of ulcers, or in a rare case, it can manifest itself in psychokinetic energy causing a poltergeist activity. And this was investigated by by two physicists. That is so dope right there. So the Rosenheim case of 1967, it was of a lady. This lady was in Bavaria and in Germany. So neon lights would blink off and on. Bulbs would become unscrewed, and the number 0119 was attributed to a high telephone bill that they had. That was the number you called to dial a time. If so many people can remember when you had to use a phone to call the time because you didn't have it always with you on your phone and stuff like that. So these physicists have to look into what's going on. Why are these neon bulbs blinking all off and on? Why are they becoming unscrewed? Why is there such a high phone bill when there's nobody dialing this number to this phone number right here? What's going on? What's going on with this? Well, when they got there, they noticed that it was they used a meter to detect the ampage, and the amps was up. So they cut the power to the building, put it on its own power source, and then let's see if it's the city causing it. Nope, the phenomenon was still there. So and all their trials and their tribulation, and they even have video, or should I say some film or video footage, whatever was back then, of this activity. Some of the activity was that the lights would go off and on, the powers would dim and stuff like this. And I guess they jokingly said to her, wow, who knows what else would happen? Maybe portraits would start flying off the wall. When they came back the next day, this activity was happening, and they have a film of this. These physicist guys, these doctors, they have films of this. So what they found out what was going on is that she had a high stress. She was in a high stress situation in the office, high stress situation, and she was always worried about going home at this one certain time. That's what was manifesting the phone calls to this number without even being touched or called. That's what was causing this. They investigated, you know, just like this. I'll let you know how they investigated. It says the phone was closely observed during this period, but there was no dialing motion to be seen. Instead, it appeared that the girl's unconscious PK, psychokinesis, somehow seemed to have tampered directly with the switching elements inside the instrument. This is not just them throwing bullshit at you. This is some real shit. This is the world that's around you. The veil is being lifted. It's, the shit is happening. This is what we wanted. A lot of us attribute this shit to ghosts. They attribute it to high stressful situations. High stressful situations. Pictures twirling on walls. It was also witnessed this, and it was able to be filmed on a videotape. The movements of a painting rotating at 120 degrees. Damn. It says Amory went to doctor's laboratory to be tested. Now, it says right here that it is noteworthy that a lot of this stuff can't be reproduced in the laboratory. That's a lot of our problems today. If it can't be reproduced in the lab, we don't believe in it. Some people don't believe in love because they can't touch it, see it, or recreate it. Hey, check it out. Just because you can't produce it or test it in a lab, then it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Well, these guys knew this, and they said the stressful situations that's caused by a job, and the things weren't there in the laboratory like they were there in our situation. And this is some real shit that really happened. This is the world around us. So another case involved a 15-year-old boy. It said that the 15-year-old boy, I guess when he worked in a china shop, if dishes would fly off the wall, other stuff would happen, and they couldn't figure it out, but it only happened with the boy when he was around. So the boy later on started to be an apprentice to an electrician. It said that the phenomenon took a bizarre twist, loosening sturdy cable hooks inserted into a concrete wall. When Dr. Bender set up a laboratory, he tested this, and it also showed a positive result. The scientific team inserted their own hooks into a concrete wall, and after assuring themselves that they were secure, they placed the boy at a distance of 1 meter from the wall and closely observed. After a few minutes, they discovered the hooks were loose, but no one had seen them becoming so. So this boy had this phenomenon that manifested through him. Who knows if he was under a stressful situation, but this right here manifested through him, and this is the world we live in. This is the NSA bringing you this shit. That is dope. This is what we in right now. So when they talk about remote viewing, when they talk about psychic phenomenon, when Hal Puthoff is out there doing this stuff, when John Alexander is at the remote viewing conference, these are the things they're talking about that are possible. These are the things that's been out there for years, and this is one of the parts of disclosure that people may be looking past. They're too busy waiting for, I'm not knocking nobody when I say that they're waiting for their, machines or whatever. Man, listen, we all want to see some cool shit. We all know that there's things out there greater than us, and we can't wait. This is one of the things right here. For years, I thought a poltergeist, like everybody else, angry spirit, got to be something else. Got to be, yak this, ghost. Do ghosts exist? Nope. I'm not saying nope, that they don't exist, but not this, not this instance right here. But there was an observable phenomenon, and it came from being in a stressful situation. And the fact that they recorded this, that they have video of this, and man, wish I can get a hold of that stuff. I would love for them, but right now we're on the alien and other things. There's all kind of things being disclosed to us. So that's dope right there. But yep, it says right here to sum it up. As PK becomes more widely publicized and the methods of causing it more accurately determined, it is beyond the realm of possibility that those masters of conditioning, the Soviets, will attempt to, number one, use the PK capability to disrupt communications, equipment with a direct attack by a trained person, or number two, plan their world moves in such a manner that all major diplomatic or military trusts are preceded by a prolonged period filled with stress producing activities designed not only to frustrate and confuse our people, but also to produce PK effects in sufficient quantity to measurably degrade the operation of our critical command and control machinery, telecommunications, cryptos, and computers. So what they meant by that is that once the Soviets get good at this, they can foresee them causing lots of stress on the American people so we can produce spikes and all this disruption that disrupts computers, telecommunications, and cryptos and crypto machinery and stuff like that. That let me just break that down for yourself however you want to. So screw the phenomenon. They know that the phenomenon is so real that this is what they're worried about. Damn, that once them Soviets get good at it, once they get at it, what they're going to do with this is use it just like kind of now what's going on. How they said the Soviets had the Facebook page faking like this, and how they're putting disinfo out there to get us to, to be upset with one another. What if that is exactly what's going on right now? All this shit with the Soviets doing this is just like they foreshadowed right here in this document. Hey, look, the Soviets can get good at this shit, cause a lot of problems with us. And what happens when you cause problems and stress in people, especially in a large group like the way we are, shit happens like psychokinesis and has effect on the machine. It even goes so far in here, it says that when you're in the office or you're at home in a stressful situation and the spikes in your bills, shit breaking when it shouldn't it, or it says like a picture jumping off the wall at a certain time, shit like that happening. It was a picture that jumped off the wall at the exact moment that someone's child died in Vietnam, is what they were talking about. Little shit like that could be chalked up to this phenomenon right here. And they're so saying, so if you notice a spike in your bills, if your shit's fucked up going on around the house, you may be a victim of this phenomenon. This shit that you're causing, this stressful phenomenon. So that's awesome, man. The shit that goes on around us and stuff. Dig these files up for yourself. Go check them out. It's the sanitized copy of the approved release of an NSA document on the CIA website. Go and check it out. Because if you don't believe it for me, read it for yourself. And this is how you have to look at it. If it's fake, what for? And if it's real, damn. And I believe it's real because look what they're worried about. If it wasn't real, they wouldn't be so concerned about the enemy getting good at it and disrupting us. And kind of think about what's going on today. How we know that they've tried to cause disruption. Was this their intentions? And we don't need no disruption. We don't need this shit. If this was more widely known, maybe we'd be cooler with each other. But yeah, who knows? I would love to say what I'm really thinking right now, but I just let that go. Leave your comments in the comment section. And man, what an interesting world we live in. So you guys have a good one. Real quick. When I say physicist, I meant Kip Thorne. Kip Thorne he won the Nobel Peace Prize. I said Kip Green, I meant Kip Thorne. So once again, it was the physicist Kip Thorne, he and the LIGO's crew. They're cool. Kip Green's cool too. Alright, you guys. Click like, subscribe. If not, I understand. Have a good one. Again, my name is David. Alright.